My name is Danielle Davis. I'm married to Clayton, and we have two incredible kids, Rin and Levi. We like to help around the church, and you can usually find us helping run the Foundry service at the back most Sundays. A little while back, Pastor Tondela preached about a life that matters, and she ended her sermon by saying, "Your life matters." And it's been a long time since I heard that message and didn't feel overwhelmed by shame and guilt and self-loathing. Because for a long time, I didn't feel that my life mattered. I have bipolar disorder, which means that my brain doesn't properly regulate the chemical serotonin. It's characterized by manic, happy highs that last for a few weeks, followed by horrible, horrible depressive lows. I struggled with this for a long time, untreated and unmedicated, with the idea that God would fix me. I just had to pray hard enough. But He didn't fix me, and I got worse. After a while, I realized I had a demon riding me, and that demon was suicidal depression. For over a decade, my brain delivered a marathon message that never stopped criticizing, never stopped analyzing how awful I was. It made me sad. It made me feel that hope wasn't possible, but most of all, it made me tired. I remember very clearly the day I finally decided I was done. I did my research, I had a plan, I knew exactly what I was going to do. But then at the last second, I chickened out. My brain told me I was a coward. I didn't know that God was working in that moment for my good. Finally, shortly after my daughter was born, I had a revelation. We were home for Christmas with my mom, and I was nearly asleep on Christmas Eve, and I was praying for my daughter, who was about 12 months old, praying about the kind of woman she would grow up to be. And it hit me like a brick to the face, how horrified I would be if she spoke to herself like I did to myself, how profoundly sad I would feel, and how I'd feel like I'd failed her by not making sure she knew how utterly exceptional she was. And I realized how sad I must be making God every time I told myself those horrible things. It was a total game changer to realize in that moment the depth of His love for me. So I went home and told my husband, I have to get help. I found a psychiatrist who put me on the right medication, and I started to get better. I came to realize that God had been putting out His hand all along, and I was too blinded in the dark room to see the light under the door. Like His grace, we have to accept His help too, and I didn't see it for so long. I began to relearn how to love myself again, without the negative tirade in my brain dragging me down. And I became able, through that, to show God's love for other people in a way that I had never been able to before. I had been drowning, and now I could be a helper to others who were doing the same just by telling my story. I've had several people in my life on the other side of that, trying to cope with a spouse or a family member who was struggling in the same way that I had, many of them ready to end their marriages because of it. I was able to give them a new perspective on what their loved one was going through, and most of them usually just looked at me and said, "My God, I had no idea that's what it was like for them." My path showed them that hope and change were possible. One thing I've come to realize is that Jesus gestated in a dark womb, and seeds are fertilized in dark soil. So it's entirely possible for God to use dark situations to grow something truly beautiful. My hope for you is that one, if you're going through something similar, you take this as a message that you need to find help, that it's okay to get help, and two, that you come to realize the profound depth of God's love for you. Your life matters to Him because He created you, and He's not a God of mistakes or pointless acts. You weren't an accident, and you have purpose. The world is so much better with you in it, despite how unlikely that might seem right now. You matter, and you are so, so important.